Hi, I'm George from Japanese from Zero. If you were me, what would you do? Less than 1% of the subscribers on my YouTube channel even watch my videos. After analyzing hundreds of YouTubers that I love, I realized the problem was me. You see, the reality is my videos are uninspiring. So from this video forward, I'm gonna work to make them better. And the way that I'll know if my efforts have paid off is with upvotes, comments, and subscriptions. So I ask you, interact, watch, and give me the feedback that I need. We start this first lesson from Japanese from Zero Book 4. There are more than 4 ways to say if in Japanese. And in this lesson, we start with nara and tada. U-turn kamaki! 大金を見つけたら、あなたならどうする？
どうしよう。
どうした？
ゆうたくんならどうするのかな？
俺？
うん。
何かあった？
もし10万円見つけたらどうする
？10万円見つけたの？
見つけたらって言ったよ。
そうだな。10万円見つけたら警察に届けるかな？
そうか。じゃあ届けた方がいいかな？
やっぱり見つけたよね？
10万円。
そんなに？どこにあったの？
うちの冷蔵庫の一番下の引き出しの中だった。
うちの冷蔵庫ならうちのお金じゃない？
うちのお金ならなんで冷蔵庫に入ってるの？ゆうたが入れたの？
僕なら冷蔵庫には入れないよ。
じゃあ誰が入れ？あ？
どうした？思い出した？
思い出した。
何？
言いたくない？
言えよ。
5年前の夏のボーナスだ。へそくりにしてた。
だったら早く言ってよ。Now let's look at some YouTubers that are using a variety of nara and tada expressions. First, we won't explain it. Watch it raw, see what you can understand. And then at the end of the video, we'll explain it piece by piece.
約1年間ぐらいパパがホテルに住んでいて、ホテルから会社へ通勤して仕事が終わったらホテルに帰るっていう生活を続けていました。
森は地下へ地下へと続いており、その最下層を見た者はいない。君たちも森を探索する気ならせいぜい気をつけるがいい。
ネズミがそこに入ったってことは、ネズミぐらい小さい僕なら入れるんじゃない？
ショーがそう言うなら大丈夫かと思った私は、それなら私のマンションで一緒に暮らそっか。
あの足の短さで言ったらさ、これもしかしたらダッシュしたら逃げきれんじゃない？
今は賃貸に住んでいるが、もう少し子供たちが大きくなったら気に入った土地に家を建てるつもりで貯金もできている。
すごい持ってるな。
でももっと欲しいですよね。やっぱお金隠すんだったら、ダイヤ貸すなら。
そうだね。
オッケー。
こうしておいたら高さがちょっと減るんで。
で、オッケー。
なるほど。
はい、ファンの子たちとどこか行くならどこに行きたいとのことです。
そうね、行くならまあ前回言ったそのね 2B の皆さんと行きたいって言ってたディズニーランド。
はい。
まあ買うならやっぱこれかな。これだったらまあちょっと高いかなぐらいだよね。ちょっと高くね、2個分ぐらいの値段だよね。
彼女が欲しいなら好きな子を作ってみては。その好きな子を作るにしても、まずは相手のことを知らなきゃだろ。だからまずはお友達から始めてみようと声をかけてたのに、風紀が邪魔するから。 お友達から？女の子なら誰でもいいのかと。そんなわけないだろ。
この人の SNS を見たら1日の動きが分かるってくらいストーリー更新しちゃう人とかおるやんか、でそういう人とか見るとなんかあんまりその人に興味なくなる。
確かに、自分が彼女だったらだけど、なんかめっちゃSNS 載せてくれる自分のこと、よりはあえて自分のこと何も載せないぐらいでいいかもしれない。
Nara and tada both mean if. So there is overlap on when you can use nara and when you can use tada. And there are some cases where nara is best and some cases where only tada can be used from the two of them. All right, let's head back to the studio where I can do this for real. Thank you, George in the park. George in the studio will take over from here. Let's go ahead and look at nara and tada and what we can learn about them so that we can understand the bug story and what happened with the YouTubers. First, let's look at how we're going to use nara. Nara can be added to any u form verb. Let's go ahead and see what that does. Kau, to buy. Kau nara, if you buy, if you are going to buy. Mayou, to be perplexed, to be unsure. Mayou nara, if you are uncertain. And kuru, come. Kuru nara, if you're going to come. If you will come. That's what nara does. Now let's look at tara and nara, both being used in the same way because, as I said in the park, tara and nara overlap, and this is where they overlap. It's when we have a condition followed by a result. So let's go. 日本に行くなら友達に会いたい. What does this mean? If I go to Japan, I want to see my friends. Now watch this. We could also have said, 日本に行ったら友達に会いたい. It still means, if I go to Japan, I want to see my friends. What about this sentence? 時間があるならゲームをします. If I have time. 時間がある means to have time. Nara. If I have time, or if you have time. It depends on who you're talking to. ゲームをします. I'll play games. If I have time, I will play games. But we could also say, 時間があったらゲームをします. All right? What about this one? アニメが好きなら池袋に行きましょう. Here we're saying 池袋に行きましょう. We're making a suggestion. It doesn't have to be something that you're going to do. Just like English, you say, hey, if you like anime, let's go to Ikebukuro. I'm not sure why that sentence was used. I don't know. Someone tell me, is Ikebukuro super famous for anime-related things? I actually don't know. But we could also say, アニメが好きだったら. Here we're using des into its だったら form. 好きだったら池袋に行きましょう. If you like anime, let's go to Ikebukuro. Now let's look at nara versus tara. While it's true that nara and tara mean if, tara can also mean when. 家に帰ったら電話をします. Tara is the only thing that can be used to say this. It is, when I get home, I will call you. 家に帰ったら電話します. If you said here, 家に帰るなら電話をします, it would mean, if you are going to go home, I will call you. This is not used to mean when. That is to say, if the condition happens that you will go home when we use nara. But when we say 家に帰ったら電話をします, it means I will call you when I get home. 年を取ったらどこに住みたいですか? 年を取ったらどこに住みたいですか? When you get old, where do you want to live? We cannot say 年を取るなら here, because that would mean if you get old, and that's not a choice. We all get old. 年を取ったら when you get old, どこに住みたいですか? Only tara can be used here. And look, we're not using condition and result here. The condition is when you get old. There is no result here. We can just ask a question. どこに住みたいですか? Where do you want to live? 中学生になったらスマホを買って. When I become a junior high school student, buy me a smartphone. Here, we're using a command or a request. Give me a smartphone when I become, not if I become, a junior high school student. Before we move on, guys, remember, you can get access to all of these lessons on FromZero.com, or if you have the books, all of these lessons are based on what we teach in the books. I have a plan for you if you're on FromZero.com. This is what I recommend. First, you do the lesson. Then you take that final quiz, and then you do a review by doing study mode, which is super cool. You can turn off all English or turn off all Japanese, and I recommend you do one first and then the other, and test. Do I know Japanese to English? Do I know English to Japanese? It's really fun. It's a thing I wish I had when I was learning Japanese. All right, now let's keep moving. Nihongo no power up. Let's learn a little bit more about this nara versus tada because it could be a little bit confusing because in English, we really only have one way to say if. All right, so let's look at this. This is the key thing that's different about nara and tada. Look at this sentence with nara. 宿題をするならケーキをあげます。What does that mean? 宿題をするならケーキをあげます。What's the condition? What's the thing that has to happen for the ケーキをあげる? So I'm going to give you cake if you will do your homework. Where does the cake happen here? When do we get the cake? We get the cake the moment we start doing our homework. If we agree that we're going to do our homework, we get the cake because she's going to give it to us or he's going to give it to us. The moment we say, yeah, I will do my homework. Okay, then here's your cake. So the action, keiki o ageru, can happen before the homework gets done. Okay? First action, giving the cake. Second action, doing the homework. What about this one? 宿題をしたら, I'm not sure where my furigana went. 宿題をしたらケーキをあげます. What about this one? If you do your homework, I will give you the cake. Second action is the cake. First action is you have to do the homework. 宿題をしたら, if you do your homework, I will give you cake. Not if you're going to do it. Excuse my very poorly formatted PowerPoint. All right. So look at this, absorb it just for a second, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint here. Notice that 宿題する is future tense or present tense, depending. It's not past tense. But 宿題した by itself would just be past tense. So that's how you can remember it. したら means the action has to have taken place before the second action, ケーキをあげます. Okay? That's why, for example, something like 日本に行くなら, if I'm going to Japan, I want to see my friends, nothing changes there because you want to meet your friends before and even after you go to Japan. That's why you can say 日本に行ったら友達に会いたいです. When I go to Japan now, I want to meet my friends. They both can be used there to be if I go to Japan. One can be the action is I want to meet them even before I go. The other one is, hey, when I do go, I want to meet them. Nothing changes. It's when we're talking about actual actions that you can't really mix and match these nara and tada verbs. Let's look at another one. Here we go. 食べるなら, I don't know where my food, like I needed to really spend a little bit more time working on these PowerPoints. Hopefully you can read this without furigana. 食べるなら手を洗ってください. What does that mean? 食べるなら手を洗ってください. Please wash your hands if you are going to eat. The first action is wash your hands. Why? Because you're going to eat. You haven't eaten yet. Okay, what about this one? 食べたら手を洗ってください. Now, because 食べた, past tense, means you've already eaten. Please wash your hands when you finish eating or after you've eaten, okay? 食べたら手を洗ってください. That's the key difference between nara and tada when they're being used as if. All right? Oh my God. Forgive my PowerPoint. If I had spent more time on it, it would have been better. Oh my God. Now we got the full screen. Now we have everything. At the very end of what I needed, we have it all. All right, let's do a little bit of practice before we move to explain what happened with the bugs and what happened with the YouTubers. So what I want you to do is fill in the blank. Which one is correct? Tada or nara? Here we go. もう寝るよ. おやすみ. I'm going to sleep now. Good night. ダメ. ね. 歯を磨いて. Is it 寝るなら歯を磨いて or 寝たら歯を磨いて. This one should be a slam dunk. Remember, say it out loud because you will lie to yourself. ダメ. No. You're going to bed right now? No. Brush your teeth if you go to bed. How do we say that? Can we brush our teeth after we go to bed? With past tense. No. 寝るなら歯を磨いて. You thought I was winking, but something probably from the park got into my eye right now. 寝るなら. It could not be 寝たら. If you said 寝たら歯を磨いて, it would mean go to bed. And when you do, then brush your teeth. The action of brushing your teeth would take place after you went to bed. Moving on. 明日、イギリスに行きます. I'm going to England tomorrow. そうですか? Something 電話してください. Please call me when you arrive. There's an optional thing. I see. そうですか? Please call me when you arrive. What does that mean? Now, I'll give you a hint. The word to arrive is 着く. 着く. And we have to remember back that ku, to make the ta form, is 移るたぶむぬんだくいたぐいだ. So how would you say this? Is it 着くなら電話してください or 着いたら電話してください has to be 着いたら you have to call after so it must be 着いたら電話してください after you arrive when you arrive whenever it translates to when it must be たら nara can never be when nara is only if that's another big hint all right practice number 320歳に something 何したい What do you want to do when you turn 20 years old? What is it? What do you want to do? 着物を着て写真を撮りたい It's kind of a nice thing, especially if you're living in Japan. You can go do this. You can pay to rent a kimono. I want to wear a kimono and take pictures. Right? So the verb to turn 20, to become 20 is naru. So is it 20歳になったら何したい or 20歳になるなら何したい There's two ways that we know this has to be nattara. Two ways. One, we're using when. If we're ever using when, at least in this case, it must be nattara. The other one is when will the action take place after the condition is met. The condition has to be met first, therefore it is tara. And it would be weird to say if you become 20. 20歳になるなら you can't that doesn't make any sense. So you wouldn't use なるなら. Okay? You could say something like 先生になるなら if you were to become a teacher. Like that would be okay because it's an option. Practice number 4. Here we go. 新しいゴルフバッグが欲しい I want a new golf bag. ボーナスが買ってもいいよ Now, this can be two different things. ボーナスが出るなら買ってもいいよ or ボーナスが出たら買ってもいいよ Both of these can be used. If/when you get your bonus, you can get one. It can be both. So you could say, ボーナスが出たら Now we know we're going to get a bonus. When your bonus comes out, 買ってもいいよ, you can buy it. But it could also be bonus ga deru nara, meaning, well, if you get a bonus, then you can buy it. All right, now that we know how to use tara and nara, let's go ahead and look at what happened with Yuta and Kamaki.
Yuta and Kamaki! 大金を見つけたらあなたならどうする?
We already start with 見つけたら。大金を見つけたら。If you found 大金, a large sum of money, あなたなら, if it were you, どうする? What would you do?
どうしよう。
What should I do? どうしよう。どうしよう。どうした？どうした？ What's the matter? Very good way to ask what's the matter.
ゆうたくんならどうするのかな?
If it were you. Now here she is saying if it was Yuta-kun. We know that kun is added to boys' names to show kind of an affectionate thing. But Yuta-kun here does not mean Yuta. It really means you. Because Japanese people love to use the name to mean you. So Yuta-kun nara, if it were you, どうするのかな? I wonder what you would do. 俺? Ore? Me? Ore is used with family, no issue. It's not rude at all. Also with friends. But if you don't know the person, please don't use ore. It could be a little bit vulgar sounding, okay? But ore means me? Yeah. 何かあった? 何かあった? Did something happen? 何かあった?
もし10万円見つけたら。
Now, we did not teach this in the studio lesson, but moshi itself means if. And when you put moshi combined with tara, it could never mean when at that point. Moshi 10万円見つけたら means if you found 100,000 yen.
どうする?
どうする? What would you do? 10万円見つけたの? 10万円見つけたの? Did you find 100,000 yen?
見つけたらって言ったよ。
I said if I found 100,000 yen. Now she could have thrown a moshi on front of here. もし見つけたらって言ったよ。I said if I found 100,000 yen. そうだな。Yeah, 10万円見つけたら10万円見つけたら if I found 100,000 yen 警察に届けるかな? I guess I would give it to the police. 届ける means to drop off, to deliver. Kana normally means I wonder, but in this case it translates better to I guess. You're not sure. It's like I wonder if I would. I guess I would drop it off at the police department, to the police.
そうか。
そっか. Sokka is used a lot instead of soka. Sokka. Oh, yeah. Kind of reflective.
そっか。じゃあ届けた方がいいかな?
Well, then I guess I should deliver it. 届けた方がいいかな? Here again, kana, not wonder, but I guess I should. やっぱり見つけたよね? やっぱり見つけたよね? So she had not admitted that she found it, but now he knows that she's talking about dropping it off to the police. He's like, やっぱり as I thought. 見つけたよね? You did find it, didn't you?
10万円.
Yep, 100,000 yen. そんなに? That much? どこにあったの? どこにあったの? Where was it?
うちの冷蔵庫の一番下の引き出しの中だった。
うちの冷蔵庫の here, if we go back, we see that uchi is being written with house. Yeah, but it can be read uchi, and here it doesn't mean house. It means our. うちの冷蔵庫の
一番下の引き出しの中だった。
It was in our refrigerator in the bottommost drawer. 一番下 means bottommost. 一番上 would mean most up, highest up. 一番下の引き出し is a drawer の中 inside. What? うちの冷蔵庫なら If it's our refrigerator, うちのお金じゃない? うちのお金じゃない? Wouldn't it be our money? Is it not our money? うちのお金じゃない?
うちのお金なら
If it was our money, if it's our money,
なんで冷蔵庫に入ってるの？
Why is it in the refrigerator?
ユータが入れたの？
Yuta ga ireta no. Did Yuta put it in? Or, like I said before, Yuta being used instead of you, did you put it in there? 僕なら冷蔵庫には入れないよ。僕なら if it were me, 冷蔵庫には入れないよ。I wouldn't put it in the refrigerator.
じゃあ誰が入れ？
So then who put it?
あ？
お？どうした？ What's the matter? What happened? 思い出した？ Did you remember?
思い出した。
I remembered. 何？ What?
言いたくない。
I don't want to say it. Yield. Now this is really rough. We don't know this. We haven't learned this in the books, but yield is like, say it.
5年前の夏のボーナスだ。
5年前の夏のボーナスだ。It's my summer bonus from 5 years ago. We don't know if it's hers or his, but it's the summer bonus from 5 years ago. In Japan, companies give people bonuses once or twice a year. And 5 years ago, she got the idea to put it in the refrigerator for some reason.
へそくりにしてた。
へそくりにしてた. Now here,
夏のボーナスだ。へそ。
Hesokuri is written in katakana to kind of stress it, but hesokuri is literally, heso is your belly button. You're kind of tucking it away in your belly button. You're hiding money. It's kind of a hidden rainy day fund type of money. Hesokuri ni shiteta.
くりにしてた。
だったら早く言ってよ。だったら, if that's the case, 早く言ってよ. Now we could have had a motto in front of here. Say it earlier. Say it faster. もっと早く言ってよ. It's actually say it earlier. Tell me sooner, because he was worried, like, where is his money coming from? All right. That was Yuta and Kamaki, the new series. Let me know if you want more of those guys. But now let's look at the variety of YouTubers. Now, as we go through the YouTube videos, remember, if you like the channels, the link, not the link, but the description of who they are is up top with their @ mark. That's how you can find them and go watch more of their videos. All right, let's go.
約1年間ぐらい
For about 1 year,
パパがホテルに住んでいて
Dad, Papa, my father was living in a hotel.
ホテルから会社へ通勤して
From the hotel, he commuted to work. Now, kaisha means company, but it's often used to mean work.
仕事が終わったら
Shigota ga owattara. When work finished. We know it's not if here. It's definitely when. Flow-wise, it would never mean if here. If work ended. It's gonna end. We know that. That's why we're gonna say 仕事が終わったら。仕事が終わったら。
ホテルに帰るっていう生活を続けていました。
He continued to go back a lifestyle of going back to the hotel after work. Now, this video is part of a much longer video where these girls, they do a prank on their father. He's been going to these hotels every night after work and only seeing them on the weekends. But now he's getting ready to come back. He's getting ready to come back for the weekend again. And they happen to have bought this wall because they were YouTubers, right? They bought this wall so that they could film videos while their mom was cooking in the kitchen without disturbing her. And they had the idea that this wall looks like they're in a different place. So why don't we trick the father, call him online, the Japanese messaging app, and say, hey, we're not supposed to call you, but just to let you know, we moved into another house. So they make a prank on him that we moved into another house. And the father's like, what? Wait a minute, is this a trick? But then the mother comes home. She's like, I thought I told you not to tell him. And it's pretty realistic, pretty funny. You can watch the whole video if you want up at their channel, Saya Risa Channel. All right, moving on.
森は地下へ地下へと続いており
Guys, so fast. 森は地下へ地下へと続いており. The forest continues down and down. So 地下 means the basement to a further down level. So this forest is this huge leveled forest.
その最下層を見た者はいない。
その最下層を見た者はいない。There is no one that has seen the most bottom layer.
君たちも森を探索する気なら、
君たちも if you guys as well 森を探索する気なら if you have the intention of exploring the forest, if you have the intention of exploring the forest,
せいぜい気をつけるがいい。
せいぜい気をつける つけるがいい。You should do at your utmost be careful.
ネズミがそこに入った。
The mouse went in there.
ってことは、
So if that's the case,
ネズミぐらい小さい僕なら、
ネズミくらい小さい僕なら、if me who is as small as a mouse,
入れるんじゃない？
I could enter in there. I could go inside. He's trying to figure out, this is a really famous game where you have all of these kind of puzzles to figure out how to get through a scene. And he saw the mouse go in there and he's like, well, wait a minute. 僕ぐらい小さいなら, if we're as small as I am, which is I'm as small as a mouse, maybe I could go in there as well.
ショーがそう言うなら、
ショーがそう言うなら. Now, I don't know who Shou is, but it's a person in the story. And this particular channel has a lot of videos with cats in the background, but the story itself has nothing to do with cats. It's just a story that someone has written and they keep your attention with the cats. It's kind of like an advanced audiobook to keep your attention with cats. So, ショーがそう言うなら, well, if you're saying that, Shou,
大丈夫かと思った私は、
me who thought it would be okay if Shou was saying that,
それなら私のマンションで一緒に暮らそっか。
if that's the case, それなら, if it's that, 私のマンションで一緒に暮らそうか. Let's live together in, how about we live together in my mansion? Now, keep in mind, a mansion is not actually a mansion. It's a way to say apartment.
あの足の短さで言ったらさ、
あの足の短さで言ったらさ, if we're talking about that shortness of legs, now the monster that you can't see over there, that you'll see him in a little bit, he has very short legs. And he's realizing that the way to solve this is, hey, with that shortness of legs, if we're saying that,
これもしかしたら、
もしかしたら really here just means maybe. Now there's another, even though it's using the if thing, now there's another way that you'll hear it. It's もしかすると. Now we don't know it yet, but すると, to is another way to say if, which we will learn later on. So you might hear もしかすれば, もしかすると, もしかしたら. They're all ways to say if in Japanese, but they mean maybe if, theoretically, possibly. Okay?
ダッシュしたら、
if we dash, if I dash. Now, just a little bit of history. Super Mario, when it first came out, the B button on the Famicom was used to make Mario run. They called it B dash, B dash. And I think that's why all Japanese people know how to say dashu to mean run. So, dashi shitara, if I dash. You see the small legs? The small legs, he won't be able to catch him. Dashi shitara.
逃げ切れんじゃない？
Maybe I could escape. Couldn't I escape?
今は賃貸に住んでいるが、
Right now I'm living in a rental. However,
もう少し子供たちが大きくなったら、
もう少し just a little bit 子供たちが大きくなったら if the children, not if, because they're going to get big, it's when the children get big. 大きくなる means to become big. 大きくなったら when the children get a little bit more bigger,
気に入った土地に家を建てるつもりで貯金もできている。
with the intention of building a house on land that I like. 貯金もできている. I have some money saved up.
すごい持ってるな。
You have a lot. Now, it's a little bit of a history, a little bit of what they talked about before this particular scene. This is Minecraft, and the girl said, like, I have 4 stacks of diamonds, and they were talking about diamonds. It's like, oh my God, you have so many diamonds. You know what we should do? We should make a business where we loan out the diamonds and get interest, and we could make a bunch of money. So she's like, man, you have a lot. And then now this other girl's gonna bring back up that topic.
うん、でももっと欲しいですよね。や
But we want more, don't we? やっぱ if
っぱお金隠すんだったら。
if we're going to hide the money. Now, I don't know why she's talking about money here. There was a little bit of discussion about it earlier. Maybe the money that they earned, they're going to hide. I don't understand. But they do eventually talk about doing a vending machine. And she might be, because I think diamonds are the form of currency in Minecraft, it's possible that she's conflating the two and saying, if we're going to hide the money, because she immediately says,
ダイヤ貸すなら。
and the tone that she has makes me think that's what she meant to say at first. Okay, now I want to show you an interesting thing that we didn't talk about in the video in the studio where I was giving the lesson. But kakusun dattara is now not past tense. When you go dattara with the verb, now it means if we're going to do that thing in the future. Okay, if you're going to do this, if we're going to hide it, restate if we're going to loan them out. 貸すなら。
そうだね。
あ、オッケーオッケーオッケー。こうしておいたら高さがちょっと。
Now, that was a little bit fast, but he says, こうしておいたら. I'm going to play it one more time. He's like, a little bit of background here. They're playing this game, and this character right here jumps down. But what happens is, when there's nothing here, it's too far. The distance is a bit too far, and he either gets damaged or he dies. Okay, so they push this over in the very beginning of the video. He pushes this over, and he says, こうしておいたら. If we place it here, こうして in this way. If we place it here, 置く means to place. 置いたら. Okay, 置いたら. If we place it here in this way. So watch for the very beginning of the video.
そうだね。
あ、オッケーオッケーオッケー。こうしておいたら高さがちょっと減るんで。
高さがちょっと減るんで、the height will lower a bit. It will get smaller. 減る means to diminish.
で、OK! なるほどなるほど。
なるほど。I see, I see.
はい、ファンの子たちとどこか行くなら
So, let me back this up.
はい、ファンの子たちと
So here it says, ファンの子たち. Now I want to explain a little bit something here. I thought for sure when I first heard this that he was saying ファンの子たち, but it was so lengthened. I was like, that's weird that maybe he was like reading and he fumbled. He's like ファンの子たち, but it's just weird to have that lengthening there. And then I realized, oh, he's saying ファンの子たち. And even then I was like, okay, that's a little bit weird, but I didn't think more beyond that. ファンの子たち, just meaning the fans. But it's weird to have tachi after ほ. Then when my wife was checking the subtitles with me, she's like, oh, I hate when they do that. They read it wrong. It's kata tachi. It's kata means people. It's a polite way to refer to people. Kata tachi makes it plural. Okay, kata could be a person or people, but kata tachi is definitely plural. So fan no kata tachi just means the fans. Fan tachi to, you could have said that as well. Fan no kata tachi to doko ka iku nara, if you were going to go somewhere with the fans. Okay? But they say ho tachi. She said it's common.
どこか行くならどこに行きたいと
Where would you go?
のことです。
そうね、行くなら。
そうね、yeah, if I were to go, 行くなら。
まあ、前回言ったそのね、2B の皆さんと行きたいって言ってたディズニーランド。
Now, this is Ken Miyake. He's part of, or Miyake Ken, I guess if you want to say it the proper way. He's part of V6, super popular. I imagine he has a fan club. I don't know what he means by 前回の 2B. Maybe that was a concert event or some sort of event where he met the fans, or maybe that's the name of the fan club, or maybe the name of an album. I have no idea. It could be a group of people somehow. But he said, 前回 previously,
そのね、2B の皆
2B の皆さんと行きたいと言ってた. The place that I said I wanted to go with with everyone from 2B. It could actually be literally another group that sings. I don't even know.
さんと行きたいって言ってたディズニーラン
He wanted to go to Disneyland.
はいはいはいはいはい。
まあ買うならやっぱこれかな。
まあやっぱno, he says やっぱ later. まあ買うなら well, I mean, if you're gonna buy it, やっぱ I'm guessing, yeah, it's gotta be this one, yeah? これかな I guess it would be this one.
これだったらまあ
これだったらまあ is like one of those spacer words, don't worry too much about it. Yeah. これだったら if it was this one, notice how they're just running through nada to TATA, doesn't matter, they're using them back and forth. So look.
まあ買うならやっぱ
買うなら if you're gonna buy it, I guess this one?
これかな。これだったらまあ
これだったら if it was this one? まあ
ちょっと高いかな。
ちょっと高いかな。It might be a bit expensive. くらいじゃない Like, that might be about the only thing you have to think about this thing. That it might be, it's the only thing about it, that's what this くらい is doing, is that it's a bit expensive. A bit.
ぐらいだね。ちょっと高くね。
not a bit. ちょっと高くない。Not a little expensive.
2個分ぐらいの値段。
2個分ぐらいの値段だよね。It's about two, it's about the price of two of them. Now, I know that was a little bit hard to listen to. We're going to back it up, listen to it again. But as you listen to a lot of Japanese, you'll get used to this type of speaking.
まあ買うならやっぱこれかな。これだったらまあちょっと高いかなぐらいだね。ちょっと高くね、2個分ぐらいの値段だよね。
But I do like his voice.
彼女が欲しいなら。
彼女が欲しいなら If you want a girlfriend,
好きな子を作ってみては
Why don't you first make one that you like? Make like a friend.
その好きな子を作るにしても
Even if I end up, even if I were going to make a friend that I like,
まずは相手のことを知らなきゃだろ
first I have to know about the person, the other person.
だからまずはお友達から始めてみようと声をかけてたのに。
And that's why, first, I was talking to them to start from being friends.
風紀が邪魔するから。
And then you interrupted me. Now he says, Fuki ga jamasuru. Jamasuru means to interrupt. And Fuki is her name, but here we know it means. And then you interrupted me. What?
お友達から。
From friends?
女の子なら誰でもいいのかと。
I thought, as long as it was a girl, you'd be okay with anybody. Slam!
そんなわけないだろ。
You know that's not the case, girl.
この人の SNS を見たら
この人の SNS を見たら when you look at this person's SNS
一日の動きが分かるってくらいストーリー更新しちゃう人とかおるやんか。
There's people that update their stories so much that you know everything they did for the day. Now, this is a little bit difficult because she's speaking in kind of a Kansai dialect. So she says, ストーリー更新しちゃう人がおるやんか. That means ストーリー更新 we know. That, well, you might not know it, but it means to refresh your story. In other words, update your story. しちゃう means している. It's ongoing present tense form in her dialect, okay? しちゃう人がおる is いる, meaning exist. やんか is じゃないですか. So, ストーリーを更新してる人がいるじゃないですか. Right? So much that you know what they're doing every day.
そういう人とか見ると、
and when I look at people like that, now let me point out, here is to here. 見ると, again, this is another way to say if that we will learn, but it can also be used as when, and that's what she's doing here. そういう人とか見ると, when I see people like that,
なんかあんまりその人に興味なくなる。
あんまりその人に興味なくなる. I end up not having a lot of interest in that person.
確かに。
Oh yeah, you're right.
自分が彼女だったらだけど。
自分が彼女だったらだけど but if I was like his girlfriend?
なんかめっちゃSNS 載せてくれる自分のことよりは
More than having him put a lot of stuff about me on his SNS?
あえて自分のこと何も載せないぐらいでいいかもしれない。
It might be better if, for me, if he doesn't, rather than that, he puts nothing up there about me. Which, yeah, I can appreciate that. You don't want all of your stuff up there, right? All right, there we go. Now back to the park. If I had one more hat, I could do a few more scenes that had originality, but I don't. It turns out, if I flip my hat around, I have one more original shot. Before you go, I have one request. Please hit the like button on this video, and if you have a moment to comment something, whether it be nice or mean or a question, I don't mind. Let me know. Did I fail it or did I nail it? See you all next time. また後でね。バイバイ。See you later.